What if I told you, imagine I told you, let's say, that there was a Signalgate Part 2. That's where we begin today. Now, interestingly, the Signalgate Part 2, Hegseth edition, isn't this fun, is not even as relevant to me as a different bombshell report about the total chaos, to use the terms they use in this report, an insider Pentagon official describing a meltdown, a near total collapse within our Department of Defense because of the collapse in leadership. And so we'll go through those details for context as to what Trump's going to be reacting to once we get to those clips. So let's start with this. This is the report that broke yesterday, and I think a lot of us just went, okay, are you kidding me? Really? We need another one of these? New York Times report, Hegseth said to have shared attack details in second signal chat. The defense secretary sent sensitive information about strikes in Yemen to an encrypted group chat that included his wife and brother, people familiar with the matter said. Now, I won't go through all of the sort of general points here because we did so much of that with the original Signal scandal. Go watch that fun binge sesh you can do on political commentary if you like, where we talked about the ridiculousness of, in something that's not as secure as normally such sensitive information is discussed in, like this Signal group chat, then the journalist originally added by Waltz, and it got sucked in. He didn't know how it got sucked, and he didn't understand how he sucked Waltz. It was very confusing. And so that happened, and it gave us a sense of maybe they're not handling this classified, sensitive war plan type information with the level of tact that they should. So that stands with this as well. But now his wife's in there, and his brother, and his personal lawyer. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private Signal group chat that included his wife. This was about the strikes on the Houthis, or as Trump will call them, the Houthis. Mr. Hegseth's wife, Jennifer, a former Fox News producer, is not a Defense Department employee, but she's traveled with him overseas and drawn criticism. That was a different scandal, for accompanying her husband to sensitive meetings with foreign leaders. And then you have Hegseth's brothers, Phil and Tim Parlatore. His brother Phil and then Tim Parlatore, who continues to serve as his personal lawyer, both have jobs in the Pentagon, but it's not clear why either of them would need to know about upcoming military strikes aimed at the Houthis in Yemen. So that's kind of the bare bones of the story. I know since this is going around, you're going to hear it so many times. We're going to get to Trump's reaction again. We're going to get to the more important story, I think, which is the near collapse at the Pentagon generally, and so many other things, including a flashback to Biden being attacked by a bunny. You'll see how that fits in a second. But first, just for those who haven't heard about this yet, here is Signalgate Part 2 summarized by CNN.
Well, Kate, sources told us last night that Hegseth set up this Signal chat that included about a dozen people, including his wife, his lawyer, and his brother, early on in his confirmation process as a way to kind of strategize with some of his closest advisors. But he apparently continued to use this particular Signal chat even after he was confirmed as Secretary of Defense. And last month, we are told he did, in fact, share those sensitive details about the military operation against the Houthis in Yemen on that Signal chat that included his wife, lawyer, and brother. Now, it's not clear at this point whether everyone on that Signal chat had a security clearance, but officials say that it is very unclear as well whether all of these people had a need to know about this military operation that was going on at the time. Now, as you said, there was already
okay. Let me summarize. They didn't. Okay. I like they want to be very specific. We don't know why they didn't. They didn't need to know about this.
Inspector General review into Hegseth's use of Signal, including whether he mishandled classified information. The spokesperson, Sean Parnell, he issued a statement late last night that said that, quote, there was no classified information in any Signal chat. So news of this second Signal chat broke just around the same time that Hegseth's former top spokesperson, John Olliott, wrote a scathing op-ed for Politico saying that the Pentagon under Hegseth is in, quote, total chaos.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to get to now. She referred to this, which I think, sometimes these stories they'll come and they'll go. And it allows if we experience them each as one individual experience, it allows for MAGA to go, oh yeah, you're always talking about something. If we zoom out, we see a little bit more why each one of these stories matters. Mediaite reporting on this Politico op-ed written by someone who was a Hegseth aide and was a loyalist, but is saying, Pete Hegseth reportedly shared attack details with his wife, brother. That's the wrong headline. So that's awkward. Let's continue. Former Pete Hegseth aide in op-ed, total chaos at the Pentagon, meltdown. Ex-Pentagon spokes, you can leave this up, Jane, drops brutal bombshell on baffling purges and total chaos at Hegseth DOD. Hard to see him remaining. And then we get to the op-ed itself. Opinion on Politico. Former top Pentagon spokesperson details, quote, month from hell inside the agency. The total chaos at the Department of Defense is becoming a major distraction for the Trump administration, writes John Ulott. It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon. From leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings, the dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. So this is someone who is a spokesperson for the Pentagon working directly under Hegseth. President Donald Trump has a strong record of holding his top officials to account. So you see, this is a MAGA person who's even upset with Hegseth. He's so strong. Given that it's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth remaining in his role for much longer. Oof. The latest flashpoint is a near collapse inside the Pentagon's top ranks. On Friday, Hegseth fired 3 of his most loyal senior staffers, and it lists them. In the aftermath, Defense Department officials working for Hegseth tried to smear the aides anonymously to reporters, claiming they were fired for leaking sensitive information as part of an investigation ordered earlier this month. Yet none of this is true. So all these firings that have been really destabilizing his top aides and officials, he's pushing out, saying this was the outcome of the investigation into why that China meeting Elon leak came out. At least this former top aide is saying that's not true. And then the op-ed goes on to describe, again, the month from hell. You had the original Signalgate story. You had the cover-up and denial of the Signalgate story that was really sad. In a different segment today, we'll remind ourselves of Hegseth jutting his head out and, oh, you think it's a fake news article? It's a fake news, whatever, that whole thing. And it didn't come off right, especially from the Department of Defense secretary, right? You're supposed to have a little bit more professionalism, but then he's acting like just some random official. And then bringing his wife to meetings where sensitive military information was discussed. Then the Pentagon setting up that meeting with Elon that caused a lot of controversy. And then Trump said, get Elon the F out of here. And then mass firings of those top Pentagon officials, kind of to save face, kind of because of just destabilization of leadership and Hegseth having real troubles. And then now we have Signalgate Part 2. And then what was really chilling in this article was that this person who left the Pentagon said that more shoes are going to drop. Even more bombshells are about to drop, according to his sources from within the Pentagon, about the chaos and the crisis of leadership that's going on. He concludes by saying the president deserves better than the current mishogus at the Pentagon. Given his record of holding prior cabinet leaders accountable, many in the secretary's own inner circle will applaud quietly if Trump chooses to do the same in short order at the top of the Defense Department. Coming from someone who was loyal, who wrote an op-ed advocating, saying Hegseth was the right person for the job back when he was being confirmed, and now is saying he needs to be fired. So total chaos and a collapse of leadership. Look at this one line too. Hegseth's now presiding over a strange and baffling purge that will leave him without his 2 closest advisors of over a decade, Caldwell and Selnick, and without chiefs of staff for him and his deputy. More firings may be coming according to rumors in the building. In short, the building is in disarray under Hegseth's leadership. People are looking up to our Secretary of Defense saying, what is going on? What did we do? We're immersed in scandals and we're lacking of a true leader. So that, I think, is the full story that needs to be told. It is notable that there was more inappropriate usage of Signal chats with people who shouldn't be in there, his wife and his brother and his personal lawyer, 2 of them who do stuff at the Pentagon. But why are they part of this? Doesn't make any sense. And that brings us to Trump. Amid this total meltdown under his leadership, by the way, which should be noted, this is a Trump scandal too. Members of his Pentagon having to come out and say the guy you selected should not be here. This is not going well. Which, I mean, I have some sympathy because who could have possibly predicted that Hegseth would have been a bad Secretary of Defense? All of us. So Trump needs to take accountability, but obviously he won't. Here was him at the Easter egg roll being asked about this.
Ask the Houthis how much there's function there. There's none. Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in.
Everyone's happy with him. Really? Oh my gosh. Click the subscribe button, by the way, if you're not yet subscribed.
28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
Okay, disgruntled employee can't just be the conversation ender. You know what? Let me accept your premise. They're disgruntled. Why? Why are they so disgruntled? What did they see in there that disgruntled them? And he just continued with this. At least the first Signal controversy, he said, yeah, there was a mistake made, but and it took him a few days to get to it's a witch hunt. But now he's just, it's fake news. But it's not though, and you know it's not, okay? We're gonna get a report T-minus 5 days from some outlet about how Trump behind the scenes was screaming and swearing about how annoyed he was that this story broke because he knows that it's not fake news and he knows that it doesn't look good.
President Trump, do you remain confident in Hegseth? Do you remain confident in Pete Hegseth?
Oh, no.
President Trump, I'm sorry.
Why do you even ask a question like that? We have recruitments that's at an all-time high. The spirit in the armed forces is fantastic. Great confidence.
Yeah, so at least in my earpiece, I can barely manage to hear what is being said over the sounds of the music and the festivities. Now, speaking of this event, Trump took a shot at Biden when he was interacting with the Easter Bunny. Let's listen.
Do you remember the bunny with Joe Biden? Remember? Do you remember when the bunny took Joe Biden out? He's not taking Trump out. Anyway, that was a beautiful moment when the bunny saved Joe Biden.
Welcome to the party, kids. Do you remember when Biden, he almost died? They call him dead. The bunny almost killed him. Anyway, happy Easter. I guess the video he's talking about, I didn't remember this, but I looked up Biden bunny, and this is what I found.
Pakistan should not, and Afghanistan should be.
Oh, the Easter Bunny, he's Mr. President.
That wasn't any better. Whoa, folks, Secret Service. What I got you for if you're not going to get the bunny off my back? Listen, back when I used to go down the plot, bunny would get my face. I'd say, get my face, but I get your ass. And then in this moment when the bunny challenged Biden to a fight, you wish that a different bunny could have come like it did here and break up the fight. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Happy Easter. Share your thoughts in the comments.